The stars above Earth shimmered like distant dreams. For nearly 5 decades, those stars had been battlegrounds in a war that spanned hundreds of systems. The Galactic Confederation fought the Voidborn across countless worlds while humanity watched from afar. Earth had been approached many times. The Confederation needed help desperately. Their representatives came with images of burning planets and refugee ships. They brought statistics of billions dead. Yet each time, Earth's leaders gave the same answer: we are not ready. This puzzled the aliens deeply. Humans had developed faster than light travel barely a century after discovering electricity. Their neural interface technology was more advanced than anything the Confederation had. Human AIs worked alongside their creators in ways that seemed almost magical to other species. Still, Earth refused to fight. On a cool autumn morning in Seoul, Admiral Taehyun of the Confederation landed his ship one final time. His blue scales had dulled with age and stress. Forearms moved nervously as he prepared to make his last appeal. The Voidborn were advancing faster now. If Earth wouldn't help, the Confederation would pull back from this sector entirely. In the United Earth Council chambers, delegates from every human nation sat in tiered rows. President Do-hyun, a quiet man with thoughtful eyes, welcomed the alien admiral. "We understand you come with urgent news," said Do-hyun. Admiral Taehyun activated a hologram showing the recent battles. Red markers showed Confederation retreats. Yellow showed fallen worlds. The pattern was clear: the Voidborn were winning. "The Nexus system will fall tomorrow," said Taehyun. "After that, nothing stands between the Voidborn and your sector. We have fought for 47 years. We are exhausted. If humanity will not stand with us now, we must focus on defending our core worlds." Minji, the defense minister, leaned forward. "Admiral, we've studied your war carefully. Both sides fight using similar technologies. Neither uses quantum weaponry or relativistic attacks. Why?" Taehyun blinked his large eyes. "Those are forbidden by ancient treaties. Even the Voidborn honor these boundaries." "That's our concern," said Do-hyun. "Humanity developed differently. We went down paths others avoided. If we join this war, we cannot fight as you do." "Fight however you must," Taehyun said, his voice cracking. "Just help us." After the admiral left, the council needed only 15 minutes to decide. They had prepared for this moment for years. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a massive facility hummed to life. Similar installations activated under the sands of the Sahara, the ice of Antarctica, and the forests of Siberia. Hidden shipyards around Jupiter and Saturn revealed vessels that had been built in secret for decades. In her office overlooking the Han River, General Ji-yeon reviewed the final deployment plans. Her screen showed thousands of ships, weapons systems unlike anything the Confederation had ever seen, and battle strategies developed by hybrid human AI teams. "Send the message," she told her aide. Across the galaxy, Confederation leaders received Earth's response: humanity will join the fight at Nexus. Please withdraw all Allied forces from the system by 0700 Universal Time tomorrow. The Confederation commanders were confused. Withdraw? When they were already losing? And how could Earth possibly deploy a meaningful force to Nexus in less than a day? Admiral Taehyun returned to his flagship with mixed feelings. He had succeeded in getting Earth's help, but their request seemed like madness. Still, he gave the order to pull back the remaining Confederation forces from Nexus. "Let the humans have their moment," he told his officers. "Perhaps they will distract the Voidborn long enough for us to regroup." What the Admiral didn't know was that Earth had been preparing for war longer than anyone suspected. The technology humans had developed wasn't just advanced, it operated on principles the Confederation had never imagined. As night fell across Earth's continents, millions of soldiers received their final briefings. Ships larger than cities emerged from their hiding places. Weapons that could bend space and time were armed. "Remember," General Ji-yeon told her commanders, "our goal isn't destruction. Our goal is peace." The war that had raged for almost 50 years was about to change forever. Humanity wasn't joining just another battle. They were bringing an end to the conflict one way or another. And they would do it in just 3 hours. The Great Hall of the United Earth Council gleamed with polished stone and glass. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, touching the faces of humanity's leaders. Admiral Taehyun stood before them, his blue scales catching the light. His 4 arms held steady as he showed the council images of destruction. This was Proxima Station, he said, pointing to floating debris. 10,000 civilians. No survivors. The room stayed silent. Many council members had seen these images before in private briefings. And this, Taehyun continued, is the Voidborn fleet approaching Nexus. The hologram shifted to show thousands of black ships, moving in perfect formation. If Nexus falls, they will be at your doorstep within 5 years. President Do-hyun nodded slowly. We understand the threat, Admiral. We always have. Then why? Taehyun's voice cracked with emotion. Why has Earth watched from safety while trillions die? You have the technology to help. We've seen your ships, your AI systems. You could make a difference. Defense Minister Minji stepped forward. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. Admiral, we've studied every battle in this war. We've analyzed the weapons, tactics, and outcomes. Both sides fight with strange limitations. What do you mean? Asked Taehyun. Neither the Confederation nor the Voidborn use quantum weaponry, said Minji. No one deploys relativistic kinetic strikes. No one uses dimensional folding technology. Why? Taehyun's inner eyelids blinked rapidly. Those are forbidden by the ancient accords. All spacefaring species signed them thousands of years ago. Even the Voidborn respect these boundaries. That's exactly our concern, said President Do-hyun. Humanity developed along different paths. We never signed these accords. We never knew they existed until we met the Confederation. Taehyun stared at them, finally understanding. Your weapons violate the accords. All of our weapons do, said Minji quietly. Everything we built for space defense operates on principles the accords forbid. If we join this war, we cannot fight as you do. Science Minister Juno added, we tried to develop acceptable weapons when we first learned of the conflict. But it would take decades to build an effective fleet with such limited technology. Admiral Taehyun's scales darkened with stress. He paced across the chamber floor, all 4 hands clenched. The accords exist to prevent the destruction of reality itself. The weapons they forbid could tear apart the fabric of spacetime. We know the risks, said Do-hyun. Our scientists understand the theories behind the restrictions. But right now, you're losing this war. The Voidborn will not stop at the Confederation's borders. Taehyun stopped pacing. What are you saying? We're saying, Minji replied, that humanity will not join this war to fight as you do. If we fight, we will use every technology at our disposal. But understand what that means. Once we reveal these capabilities, the galaxy will never be the same. Other species will fear us. They might even unite against us when the Voidborn are defeated. Taehyun stood silent for a long moment. In his mind, he saw the billions already dead, the worlds turned to ash. He thought of his home planet and what would happen if the Voidborn reached it. Fight however you must, he finally said. The Nexus system falls tomorrow without intervention. Whatever the consequences, they cannot be worse than total defeat. After the Admiral left, the council members looked at each other. No one spoke for several minutes. They all understood what this decision meant. Begin the activation sequence, President Do-hyun finally said. Inform all commanders. We go to war tomorrow. As the council dispersed, Minji stayed behind with Do-hyun. They walked to the window overlooking the city below. People moved through streets, sat in parks, lived normal lives. They had no idea what was about to happen. Do you think they'll ever forgive us? Minji asked. The Confederation? Or our own people? Do-hyun replied. Both. Do-hyun shook his head. The Confederation will be grateful at first. Then they'll be terrified. As for our people, they'll understand we had no choice. We've spent 30 years building weapons we hoped never to use, said Minji. After tomorrow, everything changes. Do Hyen nodded. Send the message to Admiral Taehyun. Tell him to withdraw all Confederation forces from Nexus. Tell him humanity will handle the Voidborn. And may whatever gods exist have mercy on us all, whispered Minji as she left to deliver humanity's final response. In orbit above Earth, the first ships began to emerge from their hiding places. The war that humanity had avoided for decades had finally found them. But it would not last much longer. The message spread across Earth and its colonies in seconds. Mobilization Order Alpha 1 is now active. With those simple words, humanity's hidden war machine awakened. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a massive metal door slid open for the first time in 15 years. Seawater drained from the chamber as lights flickered on, revealing the enormous shape of the battleship Dauntless. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. No windows or viewports marked its smooth surface. The ship had been waiting, fully crewed and ready, for this day. Similar scenes played out across the solar system. On Mars, underground hangars opened to release swarms of smaller craft. Around Jupiter, massive structures that other species had mistaken for research stations revealed their true purpose as weapons platforms and shipyards. General Jinsu stood on the command deck of Earth's orbital headquarters. Holographic displays showed him the status of every unit in humanity's fleet. Green lights spread across the board as ships reported ready status. Message from the President, said his aide, Yona. Final authorization granted. Operation Thunderclap is a go. Jinsu nodded. Send the coordination package to all fleet commanders. We launch in 6 hours. On bases across Earth, soldiers lined up for neural downloads. They stood quietly as technicians attached small devices to their temples. In seconds, each soldier received everything they needed to know about the coming battle: maps, enemy capabilities, tactical plans, and their specific roles. Information that would take weeks to learn flowed directly into their minds in moments. Captain Hyunjin of the assault carrier Firebird watched her crew prepare. They moved with quiet efficiency, knowing that by this time tomorrow, the galaxy would see humans in a very different light. Are you ready for this? Asked her second officer, Donghee. No one is truly ready for war, she replied. But we've trained for this moment our entire careers. The Voidborn won't know what hit them. In the lunar shipyards, the final touches were being put on technology that would shock the Confederation as much as the enemy. Engineer Jiho calibrated the dimensional folding device on the flagship Horizon. The machine could tear holes in reality itself, allowing ships to appear instantly anywhere in space. Will it hold? Asked his supervisor. It'll hold, Jiho said. But remember, once we use this in battle, every species in the galaxy will know what we're capable of. There's no going back. Across the solar system, AIs integrated with their human partners. Unlike other species, who feared artificial intelligence, humans had embraced it. The ship AIs weren't tools, they were crew members with their own thoughts and emotions. All system checks complete, reported Arya, the AI of the carrier Genesis. I've run 17,000 battle simulations. Our victory probability is 96.3%. Her human captain, Miho, smiled. And the other 3.7%? Involves the fundamental laws of physics working differently than we understand them, Arya replied. An acceptable risk. As the fleet prepared, Admiral Taehyun of the Confederation observed from his ship in Earth orbit. He watched in amazement as humanity unveiled military power beyond anything he had imagined. Ships larger than cities emerged from hiding places. Weapons platforms activated around every planet and moon. How did we not see this? He asked his aide. They've been building this fleet for decades. They hid it well, the aide replied. And we never thought to look. Earth seemed so peaceful. General Jinsu invited the admiral to the command center. As Taehyun entered, the humans stood respectfully. You still have time to reconsider, Taehyun said. Once you use these technologies in battle, you can never return to anonymity. The galaxy will fear humanity forever. General Jinsu's face remains serious. The Confederation has fought bravely for nearly 5 decades. Now it's our turn. We won't let the Voidborn threaten another world. He gestured to the main view screen, where thousands of ships now formed into battle groups. We'll end this war quickly and with minimal loss of life. That is our promise. How can you be so confident? Asked Taehyun. Because we've spent 30 years planning for this exact scenario, Jinsu replied. Our AIs have run millions of simulations. We know exactly what to do. The final hour before departure came. Across the fleet, humans prepared for the jump to Nexus. Weapons were armed. Shields powered up. Communication channels opened between ships. On the flagship horizon, General Jinsu addressed the entire fleet. For generations, we've watched this war from a distance. We built our forces in secret, hoping they would never be needed. Today, that hope ends. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for every species threatened by the Voidborn. Remember your training. Remember our goal: swift victory with minimal casualties. The galaxy changes tomorrow. As the clock reached 0, thousands of ships vanished from the Sol system, leaving only empty space where Earth's mighty fleet had been moments before. The Voidborn were about to face an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. The human fleet arrived at Nexus in a way no ship had ever traveled before. They didn't use the normal jump points or hyperspace lanes. Instead, they simply appeared, tearing holes in the fabric of space itself. One moment, the system held only the Voidborn invasion force. The next, over 5,000 human vessels materialized in perfect formation. On the bridge of the flagship horizon, General Jinsu watched the enemy ships on the main screen. The Voidborn fleet was massive, 7,000 vessels arranged in their famous claw attack pattern. They had been seconds away from beginning their assault on Nexus's outer defenses. They've detected us, reported Captain Min Jae from the tactical station. The Voidborn fleet is changing formation. Jinsu nodded. Begin Phase 1. Across the human fleet, special devices powered up. These machines didn't fire lasers or launch missiles. Instead, they sent out invisible waves that targeted the quantum connections binding the Voidborn ships together. The Voidborn were a hive mind species. Their strength came from perfect coordination, thousands of ships acting as one massive organism. No one in the Confederation had ever found a way to disrupt this connection. Until now. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfectly arranged Voidborn formation began to break apart. Ships drifted in different directions. Some fired weapons randomly into space. Others simply stopped moving altogether. Quantum disruption successful, Min Jae announced. Voidborn hive-mind connection is severed. Jinsu allowed himself a small smile. Begin Phase 2. The second hour of battle began with the deployment of humanity's gravitational weapons. These devices didn't destroy enemy ships, they simply made movement impossible. By creating localized distortions in spacetime, they trapped Voidborn vessels in bubbles where time moved thousands of times slower than normal. From outside, the enemy ships appeared frozen, caught in amber. 3,000 enemy vessels neutralized, reported Min Jae. No casualties on either side. Meanwhile, tiny robots smaller than grains of sand were launched from human ships. These nanobots infiltrated Voidborn vessels through hull seams and air recycling systems. Once inside, they didn't attack the Voidborn themselves. Instead, they disabled weapon systems, engines, and communications. Commander Jai-Hai coordinated the nanobot deployment from her station. Infiltration teams report 87% success rate. Enemy weapons are going offline across the fleet. By the start of the third hour, only the Voidborn command ship and its immediate escorts remained fully operational. This massive vessel, twice the size of any human ship, had better defenses than the others. It remained shielded against both the quantum disruptors and the nanobots. They're preparing to jump away, Min Jae warned. If the command ship escapes, they can rebuild their forces. Jinsu nodded. Deploy the fold. On his command, the Horizon activated its most frightening technology. A beam of blue-white energy shot from the ship, striking the Voidborn command vessel. Instead of damaging it, the beam created a dimensional pocket around the ship. Space itself folded inward, capturing the massive vessel in a bubble of altered reality. When the light faded, the Voidborn command ship hung motionless, surrounded by a faint blue glow. Folding successful, reported the science officer. We have complete control of their environment. Jinsu turned to communications officer Unju. Open a channel to all Voidborn ships. What happened next shocked even the human forces. Instead of broadcasting their own message, they transmitted commands using the captured Voidborn leader's own communication patterns. To the remaining enemy ships, it appeared that their commanders were ordering an immediate surrender. Across the Nexus system, Voidborn ships powered down their remaining weapons. The battle was over. From the observation deck of his ship, Admiral Taehyun watched in stunned silence. He had arrived at Nexus expecting to find human forces engaged in a desperate battle. Instead, he found the Voidborn fleet defeated without a single ship destroyed. 3 hours, he whispered. Just 3 hours to end a war we fought for nearly 50 years. Back on the horizon, General Jinsu received the final reports. The battle, if it could even be called that, was complete. Not a single life had been lost on either side. The entire Voidborn invasion force had been captured intact. Send word to Earth, he ordered. Operation complete. Begin diplomatic protocols. As the message was sent, Jinsu looked at the frozen Voidborn ships on the viewscreen. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. They had shown power that violated the ancient accords. They had demonstrated technologies that other species had agreed never to develop. For better or worse, the galaxy would never be the same. The war was over, but humanity's greatest challenge was just beginning. Now they would have to build a peace that would last. Prepare the Voidborn command ship for boarding, Jinsu ordered. It's time we talked to them directly. The war that had raged for 47 years had ended in just 3 hours of fire that burned not ships and lives, but the old order itself. The observation ring of Nexus Station gleamed with new metal and fresh paint. 2 weeks after the battle, representatives from 27 species gathered in the hastily rebuilt diplomatic center. Huge windows offered views of the space outside, where Voidborn ships hung suspended in blue energy fields next to the smaller Confederation vessels. Inside, the air hummed with tense conversation. No one quite knew what to expect from this meeting. The war had ended so suddenly that most species were still in shock. President Dohyan of Earth stood calmly at the center of the room. His simple white uniform stood out among the colorful robes and armor of the alien delegates. Behind him, a small team of human advisors waited quietly. When the Voidborn representatives entered, the room fell silent. This was the first time most species had seen the enemy up close. The Voidborn moved on 4 legs, their bodies covered in smooth gray skin that seemed to absorb light. Their faces had no eyes, only sensor pits that glowed faintly blue. Welcome, said Dohyan, his voice soft but carrying to every corner of the room. Today we end a war and begin a peace. The main Voidborn delegate stepped forward. Its translator device buzzed slightly before producing words. We are here under unusual circumstances. Our defeat was unexpected. Not defeat, corrected Dohyan. Resolution. No ships were destroyed in the final battle. No lives were lost. We simply created a situation where fighting could no longer continue. The Confederation representatives shifted uncomfortably. Admiral Taehyun's scales had turned an unusual shade of green, a sign of extreme stress in his species. You violated the ancient accords, said one Confederation elder. The technologies you used were forbidden for good reason. Dohyan nodded. We understand your concern. But we used these technologies precisely because they allowed us to end the conflict without destruction. Conventional weapons would have required us to destroy the Voidborn fleet, killing millions. What happens now? Asked the Voidborn delegate. Will you destroy us while we are helpless? No, said Dohayan firmly. We are here to propose terms for lasting peace. He gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed star maps, resource distribution plans, and migration routes. Our analysis shows that this war began because of resource competition in the Outer Rim sectors, Dohayan explained. The Voidborn expanded because their home systems were depleted. The Confederation resisted because they feared losing control of key trade routes. The room remained silent as Dohayan outlined a plan that would redistribute resource rights across the galaxy. New mining technologies would be shared with all species. Trade routes would be guaranteed neutral. This is generous, the Voidborn delegate finally said. It is practical, replied Dohayan. Punishing the defeated only leads to future wars. We want this peace to last. After hours of discussion, the basic framework was agreed upon. The Voidborn would return to their territory with enough resources to rebuild. The Confederation would maintain its borders but open certain systems for shared development. Humanity would help establish new colonies in previously uninhabitable systems. As the formal session ended, smaller groups broke off for private conversations. Admiral Taehyun approached General Jinsu, who stood by the window watching the ships outside. You could have joined us years ago, Taehyun said quietly. Millions of lives would have been saved. Jinsu turned to face him. If we had joined earlier, we would have fought as you did to ship against ship, world against world. We needed time to develop technologies that could end the war without genocide. You knew you could win quickly all along, Taehyun realized. No, Jinsu shook her head. We knew we could end it quickly. Winning would have meant destroying the Voidborn entirely. That's not victory, it's just another tragedy. She gestured to the ships outside. Tomorrow we begin releasing the Voidborn vessels. Their crews will return home. Life will continue. And what about humanity? Asked Taehyun. You've revealed capabilities that frighten even your allies. Some already whisper that you should be contained before you become too powerful. Jinsu smiled sadly. We expected that. It's why we hesitated to join the war for so long. We knew that once we showed what we could do, the galaxy would never see us the same way again. What will you do now? We'll help rebuild. We'll share some of our technologies, the safe ones that can benefit all species. And we'll hope that in time, fear will be replaced by trust. As the Earthships prepared to depart the next day, representatives from a dozen worlds watched from Nexus Station. The human vessels moved with grace, their engines leaving no visible exhaust or energy signature. They could have conquered us all, whispered one Confederation diplomat. Perhaps, replied another. Or perhaps they just showed us a better way to resolve our differences. The galaxy would need time to adjust to this new reality. The war was over, but the peace had just begun. And at its center stood humanity, no longer hiding, no longer watching from a distance, but fully engaged in shaping a future where conflicts might be resolved without destruction. This was the true victory, not the battle won in 3 hours, but the peace that might last for generations.